Recently retired Inspector General of Police David Kimaiyo has been summoned to appear in court within the next 24 hours. High Court Judge Justice Isaac Leneola issued the summons requesting that Kimaiyo explains whether he resigned in writing or was coerced by President Uhuru Kenyatta to do so. This comes barely a week after President Uhuru announced that Kimaiyo had resigned following a public pressure over the rising insecurity in the country. Kimaiyo now has 24 hours to shed light into the circumstances of his sudden resignation. NCIC Chairman Francis Ole Kaparo is asking Kenyans to embrace a change of attitude to promote national cohesion. Kaparo, speaking at the launch of a social cohesion report, it focused on 6 major issues. These are trust, peace, equity, diversity, prosperity, and identity. And now we are now joined by Hussein Mohammed due to following the terror attacks witnessed in the country over the past 1 month that left 64 people dead. Residents in the area today are holding a meeting with both county and national government officials over the runaway security in the region. Just like I'd said, our reporter Hussein Mohammed now joins us by way of phone. Hussein, if you can hear me, there has been a lot of tension in the area. How is the mood like in Mandera and at the meeting?
Well, thank you very much, Ian Wafula. We are at the Geneva Sports Ground in the main town of Mandera County, where currently there is a rally, but here in Mandera they call it the Baraza. Going on is where the people and the county government of Mandera come and sit and talk about matters of peace and security. Well, right now, the people present here are the CES for Industrialization and Enterprise Development, Aden Mohammed, the governor, senator, and the lawmakers in this county. Well, Ian, currently the mood here in Mandera County is that the residents are speaking up their mind, if I may say. They're talking about matters of peace in this area. Currently, we have witnessed over 64 people passing on in this area due to the wave of terrorism attacks which has been happening in this county. Yeah.
Hussein, what are some of the issues being raised? Because we know that it's not the first time that residents in Mandera are holding such a meeting with their leaders. Some of the issues raised, Hussein?
Well, the main issue that's being raised is that on the part of the residents, they are saying they have what we call Al-Shabaab sympathizers, and the issue of foreigners being in this Mandera town. The residents have come up in arms as to talking to their leaders and tell them to give them more security. Recently, we have noticed that in Mandera County, people have been fleeing. Over 150 teachers, 20 health centers have been shut down. So the main issue is being raised here is on the issue of Al-Shabaab and the issue of terrorism attacks.
Thank you, Hussein. We shall have more updates on that story in our subsequent bulletin. Hussein Mohammed there, coming to us by your phone from Mandera. Let's now just take that story that we had earlier on mentioned. NCIC Chairman Francis Ole Kaparo is asking Kenyans to embrace a change of attitude to promote national cohesion. Kaparo, speaking at the launch of a social cohesion report, it focused on 6 major issues. These are trust, peace, equity, diversity, prosperity, and identity.
NCIC must not flinch in the execution of its mandate so that we can heal this country and hold to account in a legal and constitutional manner those who conduct and whose conduct and pronouncements seek to divide and destroy this country. I wish to give the strong support and the commitment of the judiciary in helping NCIC fight this mighty vice. It's important that we devalue the currents of division in our politics and business.
That right now, the most uncohesive institutions in our society are those charged with governing us. Just have a look at the wars going on between the National Assembly and the Senate, between the Parliament and the Judiciary, and between the Executive most of the time and the Judiciary.
Is there a way you can actually talk about how disabled are being incorporated in a cohesive way in society? That can we identify some of the areas where we can talk about the people suffering various disabilities are incorporated.
Elsewhere, a report by the Media Council of Kenya reveals that journalists in the coastal region continually face security threats due to the general misconception of bias in their reporting. The report also indicates that there exists religious bias in reporting issues of war, terror, and radicalization. The Media Council of Kenya is now urging journalists to be cautious and honest in educating and informing the public.
There exist Muslim and Christian biases in reporting on war against terror. In that, some journalists are taking their perspective because of various issues, and we realized some of them is because of their education, their experience, their beliefs, their traditions, actually influenced the way they were reporting some of these things. So you realize, you could actually read a story and realize where does this, in fact, at one point, some people accused Muhammad Ali and said his perspective when he's reporting on, when he's doing stories on radicalization is a bit skewed.
Even journalists among themselves seem to be playing along the lines of religious groupings. And you go to Coast, for example, at this stage, we have Christian journalists and Muslim journalists.
The Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital is running into financial difficulties as it waives more than 7 million shillings in medical bills every month. Director of Clinical Services Wilson Arwasa says this has affected the running of the facility as there are too many patients who cannot pay their bills. He attributed this to the fact that many of the patients in the hospital have not enrolled for the National Social Security Fund.
Here we are talking of over 70 million shillings, and therefore this affects sometimes our ability to get the necessary supplies to run the hospital, and even also sometimes the money to maintain the hospital properly. Of course, you have to understand that we get support from the government for personnel emoluments so that we don't have a problem, but we need money for operations and maintenance. And this, ideally, if every Kenyan had social security, we wouldn't be talking about these waivers at all.
From that, we go to our weekly a repeat of our weekly Mock the Week. And now, it is the season to be merry, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has more than one reason to be very, very, very merry this Christmas. This week, one man was told to get out of a kitchen that seemingly became too hot for him, and one Yvonne Okwara took security matters into her own hands. Jerry Mushura has this and more on this week's Mock the Week.
Good evening and welcome to Mock the Week. My name is Jerry Muchura, and as you can see, in line with what has been happening in the government, we also have decided to shuffle things a bit. This guy has moved himself to the civil service.
Yeah, I'm going to join the civil service now.
But before we get to shuffling and reshuffling,
every day I'm shuffling.
Let's talk about this guy. President Uhuru Kenyatta, Mr. Shuffler himself, who is happier than a boy with a brand new bike. Yes, President Uhuru Kenyatta learned this week that ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda decided to leave the head of state alone because she had no evidence, leading to many Kenyans doing this.
See you, baby.
It also turns out that the decision by Bensouda to throw in the towel also ensured that most Kenyans all went so closer to God.
I see it like this. You see, Jesus was crucified with two thieves, isn't it? So, in this case, I see it Uhuru as Jesus, and the two thieves as Ruto and the other one, Sam. Yeah.
You know what? I agree with that guy. I guess there's a huge similarity between Jesus and President Uhuru. A lot of similarity. I mean, one is the son of God the Father, and the other one is the son of the founding father. So yeah, I guess that's a pretty legitimate comparison, huh? All in it was joy all around. One can only hope that the joy and the selfies will lead to things improving, security-wise, that is. Speaking of security, remember this guy? Really? You don't? Are you serious? Let me refresh your memory.
Smoke you are seeing from the building is as a result of the terrorists setting some mattress on fire.
Yeah, that's the guy. He was the comedian-in-chief who was also in charge of internal security. Well, guess who's jobless? After dishing out several half-truths on what was going on in the country, the truth was finally served to him in a steaming cup of hot truth. That he'd be looking for a job sooner rather than later.
I have today nominated the Honorable Major General Retired Joseph Ngaiseri as the new Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government.
There were talks along the corridors of power earlier this week that one Joseph Olelenku was up for the prestigious award of the Moran of the Burning Spear for his exemplary work as Chef of Security. But as it turns out, that was never going to be. But you know what? We here on Mock the Week are a sad, very sad lot. I mean, who are we going to be making fun of now? Well, thank you, Mr. President, for ruining our fun. But you know what? Let's look back at the moments in Olelenku's distinguished career that warmed the cockles of our hearts.
I did apply.
So do you think you got more than you got?
When God decides to bless you, there is no limit. I have no doubt in myself that I'm up to the task. There is no possibility of failure in this case. A known number of armed militia attacked Mpeketoni and Kibaoni town in Lamu County. I want to confirm that immediately the government swung into action through the KDF. In the foresight operation, we retrieved a large amount of terrorism material and an insignia including Al-Shabaab flags. During the attack, 48 innocent lives were lost. Already some offensive have been taken. They have been identified where they came from.
Oh, we'll miss you, Mr. Olelenku. We'll miss just how easy you made it for us to make fun of you. But before he left, Olelenku had a special message. And in it he said, insecurity affects every single Kenyan. Which brings us to, wait, maybe, just maybe, that's the reason why our colleague Yvonne Okwara got married yesterday.
I give you this ring as a sign of our marriage. It's a sign of our marriage.
Could it be that people took the words of the fired internal security boss quite literally? But as the law of the jungle states, there is safety in numbers, and two are much better than one. And as Yvonne Okwara has declared, her security starts with her getting married. Have you thought about your own security? And since Olelenku has left the building, let me just prepare your mind for the next laughingstock. Arsenal.
Will Arsenal win anything for the next 20 years?
Never, 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 never.
Do catch Mock the Week every Sunday at 9 p.m. during KTN Weekend Prime. We're now taking a short commercial break, but don't go too far. We'll be back with the sports and business. Welcome back to KTN Newsdesk. Let's get straight into business. Electricity generator KenGen will scale down Kenya's power generation target of 5,000 megawatts amid concerns that the planned production is overstated and could make electricity expensive. The state-owned electricity generator has said it is currently complying data from manufacturers, property developers and business lobby groups to establish the economy's actual 5-year demand for power and match it with production. KenGen says excess energy production could hurt the economy as it will increase tariffs, forcing consumers to pay for capacity charges on idle plants. The announcement signals a U-turn from government as it heeds warnings about possible overproduction from organizations such as the International Monetary Fund. The government has assigned itself a tight timeline 2017 to generate an additional 5,000 megawatts, mainly from renewable sources like geothermal, wind and solar, and increase the country's installed capacity from 1,955 megawatts. And despite the warnings, the state had stuck to its guns, maintaining that there would be enough market for the extra power. And for some good news for Kitui residents, the government has unveiled the 3 companies that it says met the requirements to undertake mining of coal in Kitui County and have the capacity to control a 960 megawatt coal power plant in the region. The 3 firms are now expected to submit their technical and financial bids by the 4th of February, after which the state will award the 2 coal blocks to successful bidders. This will be followed by the signing of benefit sharing agreements by the 30th of April. On successful completion, the coal exploration and appraisal of the farms will get a coal production and development license that will enable them extract and develop coal in their respective blocks.
In the document that we have given to the companies, they are going to indicate very clearly what each consortium is going to do, what each consortium member is going to do, and they will be signing for that.
Do join us in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Ian Ofula. Do have yourself a lovely afternoon.